Hey everyone, this is Senti Reads, and as you can see by the video title, today we are going to be rewriting the third chapter of Hello Darling. This one is actually the longest at 668 words, and a lot of it is really rambly and unnecessary, so we might actually lose word count on this one. And I do have a few goals going in with this. We're going to totally remove any of the weird talk about food with Memphis, and I'm going to rework some interactions, so I already have some plans going in. Let's give us some space to work. Memphis and I had two separate rooms because the brochure clearly stated that only handicapped passengers would be sharing rooms, blah, 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 blah. That is some absolute horse shit. We know that already from my review that I absolutely hate this mention of handicapped passengers. Not because there's not handicapped passengers on the ship, but because this description of them needing separate rooms is asinine. So Memphis and I, after checking into our staterooms, we headed down for, no, I don't like that. Let's just say Memphis and I had two separate rooms because there would be too much nighttime activity going on, if you catch my drift. I really want Juniper to be like a sort of lame, horny uncle, and just trying to give her some personality here. Neither of us wanted to, no. I was hell-bent on winning our bet, and sharing a room would really put a damper on that. So, okay, get rid of that. Our rooms were right next to each other. Yeah, let's keep that, but change the description. So, as I said before, you can't just buy back-to-back tickets and get back-to-back rooms. That's not how it works. Our rooms were right next to each other because, now let's change that. Memphis was sure to book us rooms that were side by side so that we could, Memphis was sure to book us rooms that were side by side, that were next to each other, and oh, no, I got it. To my dismay, Memphis booked rooms that were side by side. I knew she was a bit of a screamer, and I was not looking forward to her keeping me up all night. I know that's like kind of nasty, but Amber Lynn's kind of nasty, so we're keeping it. We draw, well, why would they unpack their suitcases? We made sure our suitcases were in our staterooms before heading down to brunch. Ideally, I would give a lot of detail on what the staterooms look like, but honestly, I don't feel like putting in that effort, so we're just gonna skip the description of the stateroom because they didn't really spend time in there. Okay. Oh my gosh, strawberries, Memphis squealed. So I don't like that because I don't think anybody is excited about strawberries. Oh my gosh. Let's change this. Oh my gosh, this looks totally gourmet, Memphis squealed as she surveyed the brunch buffet. Amber Lynn capitalized brunch buffet, but I don't think that is necessary. So, let's see. Brunch was served every morning and was included in the ticket price. Because here, everything on Hello Darling was technically free. As we said, that pisses me off so much. It's not technically free. You paid for it. So, brunch was served every morning and was included in the ticket price. She explains why they called it brunch and we're not doing that. So brunch was served every morning and was included in the ticket price. Let's see. We had a few hours to kill because the ship would not be departing for a while. There were 2,000 passengers who needed to board, and that would take a long time. That's kind of boring. We might change this when I do some editing on this, but this whole thing about taking off at 9 a.m. and they open at 6 a.m. to situate, that's not really a thing. You're not just sitting on the boat for no random reason. You're sitting on the boat because you're waiting for the rest of the passengers to board. So we're just going to cut all of that. Grabbing a plate, I join the line at the buffet. Just ahead of me, the most attractive girl I've ever seen is what? I gotta make sure I stay correct with the tense here too, and not switch to present tense like I almost just did. Grabbing a plate, I joined. So that should be joined. I joined the line at the buffet. Just ahead of me, the most attractive girl I've ever seen was scooping grits onto her plate. Let's give her some description here. So, full disclaimer, I'm changing this girl from some random girl to Indy because I do think Juniper and Indy need to meet significantly sooner in the story than they do, but it's not going to be clear yet that there's going to be some romance going on. So, let's give some description about what Indy looks like. I think in a later chapter she has long curly black hair, so her curly black hair was shot. Her curly black hair would look good tangled up in my fingers. Because I am trying to keep some of Juniper's horny vibe here, even though this is not personally how I would like to write if I was writing this fully myself, but we're going to keep it. I was so busy watching her that I scooped scrambled eggs onto the floor instead of my plate. Come here often is just the lamest line. You know what? We're going to keep it because she is lame. Come here often, I asked, hoping she wouldn't notice how sweaty I was. She rolled her eyes. So I think Indy's probably going to be pretty annoyed from the argument she just had with her mom. So she's not really here to be flirted with. She rolled her eyes. Of course not. Who could afford to take so many cruises? Ouch. My charisma was failing me, but I like to challenge. Soon enough, I would win her over. So it's your first time here too? I asked, trying to break the ice. Maybe we could do some exploring together later. Check out the pool. I hear the pool is awfully nice. That was just an excuse to see her in a bikini. No thanks. I doubt I'll be able to ditch. No thanks. Let's see. Before I could fantasize any further, a middle-aged lady sidled up to the buffet. Oh, let's see, there's a hyphen here. The girl looked visibly annoyed at her presence. Andy, did you see the waffle station? There are more. I know how much you love waffles, the lady said. No. Let's go check that out. The girl didn't sound excited about. The girl glanced over her shoulder at me before quickly making her escape. Great. At this rate, Memphis really would win our bet. I met her at a table in the back of the, what is this, a restaurant? By a large window. The ocean was so blue that it looked photoshopped. The morning sun glinted off the water, nearly blinding me. No, the morning sun glinted off the water beautifully. That's kind of a shitty description. The morning sun glinted off the water, and I was... morning sun glinted off the water, nearly blinding me. And I lost my train of thought as I looked at it. Even though my luck with the ladies was down, at least I had this beautiful view. Okay. The food here is heavenly, Memphis said, drawing me out of my stupor. So as I said, I fully want to remove all of this weird food stuff. We're not having that. It sure is. It sure is. I can't believe we get to eat this every morning. We each had our plates piled high with everything the buffet had to offer. What would be on a luxury cruise? Like crab legs, omelets. Is that not how you spell omelet? How the fuck do you spell omelet? Omelets, fruit, and so much more that it essentially became an amorphous mess. I was ready to eat until I couldn't move. All right, so let's get rid of all of this bullshit. So we don't need this description of them being best friends since they were in 3rd grade, because we just don't need to know. We don't need to know that. We can get that detail later on. What's the plan for today? I asked in between, oh, that is 2 words. In between mouthfuls? No, in between bites. Memphis took out, so this whole booklet thing is also ridiculous. We're switching it to an app. That's how any cruise would do it. Took out her iPhone and swiped and opened the Hello Darling app. It was the central location for all things Hello Darling. There was a map of the ship, detailed daily agendas for the various events happening around the ship, food and drink menus, etc. It was going to be our lifeline for the next week. Looks like they are having a party on the main deck when the ship departs. We should definitely check that out. Memphis speared a strawberry and popped it into her mouth. After that, there is a meet and greet in the aft. So, she said there was some sort of game in Building C to get to know fellow passengers. There's no Building C, so we're going to use actual boat terms. And one boat term that I remember from my cruise is the aft. Actually, I don't like meet and greet. There is an ice cream social. There's an ice cream social in the aft to meet fellow passengers. I bet we could meet some ladies there. So let's see what we have left. So we have this nasty description, curls everywhere, chatty but attractive, blah, blah, blah. I don't fall in love, I fall in lust, I love sex, blah, 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 blah. I feel like we've already pretty well established that that is Juniper's personality by having the bet with her in Memphis and just how she's commenting on women. So we're completely not going to have that in here. That definitely caught my interest. Did you say you had me at ladies? Say no more. Okay, let's get rid of this. All of that. Okay, so we're at 612 words right now. I think the original was 668, so we did lose some words, but I'm not fully happy with this. So let's take it from the top and do some editing because, as I said, editing is not optional, except this is more of a revision. So Memphis and I had 2 separate rooms because there would be too much nighttime activity going on. You catch my drift. I was hell-bent on winning our bet, and sharing a room would really put a damper on that. To my dismay, Memphis booked rooms that were side by side. I knew she was a bit of a screamer, and I was not looking forward to her keeping me up all night. We made sure our suitcases were in our staterooms before heading down to brunch. Memphis wanted to look through her bags to make... So we already established Memphis was kind of Karen and she didn't want people touching her bags, so we're going to bring that back. Memphis wanted to look through her bags to make sure the attendants didn't take anything, but I was so hungry, I dragged her down to brunch before she had the chance. Let's see. Let's get that. We made sure our suitcases were in our staterooms. Memphis wanted to look through her bags to make sure the attendants didn't take anything, but I was so hungry I dragged her down to brunch before she had the chance. Oh my gosh, this looks totally gourmet, Memphis squealed as she surveyed the brunch buffet. Let's give some actual setting description here. I don't know if I would call this a cafeteria. Let's call it a restaurant. Let's just say buffet. The buffet was huge with multiple serving stations. The smell in the air was heavenly, was a heavenly mix of maple syrup and fresh fruit. I couldn't believe that they put out such a huge spread every morning and that it was all included in the ticket price. Now I was starting to understand why it was so expensive. It was worth every penny, though. Okay, let's just take out the part about departing. We'll just talk about that later. Grabbing a plate, I joined the line at the buffet. Just ahead of me. I think there needs to be a comma there. The most attractive girl I've ever seen was scooping grits onto her plate. Her curly black hair would look good tangled up in my fingers. I was so busy watching her that I scooped scrambled eggs onto the floor instead of my plate. I hoped an attendant was quick to come by and sweep it up. Come here often? I asked, hoping she wouldn't notice how sweaty I was. She rolled her eyes. Of course not. Who could afford to take so many cruises? Let's see. Who could afford to come here more than once? Ouch. My charisma was failing me, but I liked a challenge. Soon enough, I would win her over. Maybe she was cranky because it was still so early in the morning. Just to give a reminder of what time of day it is. I know brunch is sort of vague, but here we go. So it's your first time here too? I asked, trying to break the ice. Maybe we could do some exploring later. I hear the pool is awfully nice. That was just an excuse to see her in a bikini. Before I could fantasize any further, a middle-aged lady sidled up to the buffet. The girl looked visibly annoyed at her presence. So that's kind of vague. She looked visibly annoyed at her presence. Instead of saying visibly annoyed, I could say how she looks annoyed. The girl tried not to look at her, focusing intently on the pan of hash browns in front of her. Angie, did you see the waffle station? I know how much you love waffles, the lady said. No, let's go check that out. The girl glanced over her shoulder at me before quickly making her escape. Great, at this rate, Memphis would win our bet. I met her at a table in the back by a large window. The ocean was so blue that it looked photoshopped. The morning sun glinted off the water, and I lost my train of thought as I looked at it. Even though my luck with the ladies was down, at least I had this beautiful view. The food here is heavenly, Memphis said, drawing me out of my stupor. It sure is. I can't believe we get to eat this every morning. We each had our plates piled high with everything the buffet had to offer. Oh, wait. Everything the buffet had to offer. Crab legs, omelets, fruit, and so much more that it essentially became an amorphous mess. I was ready to eat until I couldn't move. What's the plan for today? I asked in between bites. Memphis took out her iPhone and opened the Hello Darling app. It was the central location for all things Hello Darling. There was a map of the ship, detailed daily agendas for the various events. No, let's just cut that. Detailed daily agendas for events, food and drink menus, etc. It was going to be our lifeline for the next week. Looks like they're having a party on the main deck when the ship departs. We should, let's see, let's change that. Looks like they are having a champagne toast on the main deck when the ship departs. We should definitely check that out. No, let's not put a time frame on this. It doesn't matter. Memphis speared a strawberry and popped it into her mouth. After that, there's an ice cream social in the aft to meet fellow passengers. I bet we can meet some ladies there. That definitely caught my interest. You had me at ladies. Say no more. I think that's good. We're at 705 words. This is a lot better, in my opinion. You can definitely let me know if you liked the changes I made. As per usual, I'm going to put it through my secondary grammar checker before I upload it on my Wattpad, and I'll see you for the next rewrite.